people have the mindset that you buy the house, wait for 30 years, or never sell maybe. So I think that stigma, and people don't understand the total cost of ownership and like, hey, I'm putting money into this. How much am I really making? We spend a lot of time on saving money here and there and researching on where we can get discounts and Black Friday and whatnot to save a few bucks. But how clear are we on our home as an investment? Hello and welcome, everyone. Today we have an amazing session with some amazing speakers. Today the topic is real estate, right? We all know that real estate is probably our biggest investment ever. We save our entire lives to be able to afford a house. And as we do well, then we are blessed with having multiple homes and we become investors and diversify. But we all know that real estate is probably the best, safest, and long-term, the most lucrative investment. Having said that, we spend a lot of time on saving money here and there and researching on where we can get discounts and Black Friday and whatnot to save a few bucks. But how clear are we on our home as an investment, right? We buy the home at a particular price, we pay the loans, and hope in 30 years or whatever, when we sell, we make good money. But do we really know the total cost of ownership when we put in our mortgages, our fixing costs, and many other costs that go into, our insurance costs and all of that goes into it? Probably not. And more than that, do our spouses have all the information about our home, all the paperwork? If you have multiple homes as an investor, do we know, do we have all our ducks in a row? Most of the people have it stored somewhere and access it somewhere, but they don't have a dashboard, they don't have the right KPIs, they don't have the right reports, they don't have it in their glance if they have to, or if they have to pass it over to their kids. It's a struggle, right? It's stored somewhere, but it's not tangible, it's not evident, it's not in front of you. If you want to see any in real time, hey, how are my properties doing, where am I spending money, all of that, we don't have that. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And the speakers today, Rahul and Aman, both own a startup called HomePulse, and Ashish and Pramit are guests that are here to ask questions and hopefully make this podcast an engaging one. So with that, let's go through a quick round of introductions. I'll first give the guests a chance. Ashish, if you want to go first, and then Pramit, if you want to go second. Just share a little bit about your background, and that'll be very valuable. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Gautam. My name is Ashish Dhawan. I'm in Livermore here. Been in the insurance industry for about 17 years or so. Prior to that, I was in real estate and mortgage for at least a good amount of 11 to 12 years. And just wanted to get some context behind this product and what you guys are looking from us as an audience.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Pramit?
Hey, my name is Pramit, and I have been active in the multifamily space, commercial real estate, and now dipping into also single family homes and all that, fourplexes and eightplexes and whatnot into multiple states. And at the moment, my interest area is trading, algo based trading, and a lot of forex and crypto trading. And also, I do a lots of trading on options. Mostly, I do, SPX and whatnot. And super excited about this podcast today. Gautam, thanks for inviting me. And I'm looking
Of
forward
course.
to the next lineup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you so much, Pramit, and thank you, Ashish. Rahul and Aman, do you want to go next? Rahul, maybe you want to go next?
Sure. So Rahul Pandey, live in Pleasanton here, founder and CEO of HomePulse.ai. What my history goes, I'm a techie, essentially, been in the industry for over 20 years, building systems, like I said, for home loans, and large banking and very large online video rental sites and all this stuff. So done a lot of stuff. Very passionate about home ownership as well as an investor, right, into multiple homes. In my spare time, you will find me, pretty much browsing Zillow or, doing other maths on home ownership. And that's where I found both the problem and the opportunity, right, as to how all of this scales out. Currently everyone does it their way, but there's amazing opportunity that can be democratized, right, for the average homeowner. I'll hand over to Aman.
Hi, guys. My name is Aman Joshi. I've been a loan officer for the last 10 years, and that's where all the passion for HomePulse came in from. So I'm a co-founder with Rahul on this, and we're trying to build this into a product that every homeowner should have.
And obviously, we'll have more information as they start to present and give us more information. But do you feel that homeownership is like from a total cost of ownership or passing a legacy or having your spouse or your family knowing more awareness? Are there tools that exist, or do you think there's a big gap that already exists?
Like I said, it's a very passionate problem. I think I'll just go with a small narrative of a story or incident, right? A few years ago, I had to run back to India for taking care of my father. We're all at the age where we now have to shuttle between our other responsibilities, right? And I usually time my mortgage taxes, right? Being a big house, I try to time my taxes based on what my annual income is going to be every year. So I didn't automate my pay because, you can get, frankly, several $1,000s in tax benefits if you time your two installments same year versus next year and this year in tax benefits. But what happened was I just left and completely forgot. The letters came in, and New Year's, I came back. January went by. March, I remembered, holy cow, I didn't pay the taxes, right? I saw the other letters. And so, of course, I had to pay a hefty penalty on the first installment that was due in November. And it got me to thinking as to, like, my wife works at Amazon. She's completely capable. My son is 17, capable, but they all just left all the envelopes waiting for me to, dad will take care of it, right? And I lost, like I said, $600 in penalties. And so we double click that problem. I'm like, hey, how come no one else knows what's going on in the house, right? There are these default rules, like some stuff my wife takes care of it. She has the phone numbers, and some stuff I have it. And even I forget. I had 5 electricians. One of them had installed the Tesla charger at the best price. But when I had to get another Tesla charger installed, I didn't know which one was it. So I was just kind of going through my list, calling each one, asking who does it. So I found, just as techies, as year 2025, the way we run our house, our finances, our maintenance improvements is very similar to what our grandparents probably did, or our parents did, right? As techie, you're just given a key and you're on your own essentially at that point of onwards, right? Smarter techies handle spreadsheets, but that's a good sign that there's a need for a system essentially. So I think we're building a platform with the aim to save frustration, keep all the parties in the house informed with a centralized, organized catalog of information and events that happen in the house, so that in the case of anything that happens, right, to me or to my wife, I could add Aman to my home as a caretaker for a few months. And then he knows, all the people who've been operating it and all this stuff. So you can make wise decisions on behalf of my kids, right? Essentially, your largest asset is not orphaned if something happens to the two primary homeowners, let's say at home, right? And so that's the angle we got onto, and we figured there's so much automation we can do, especially with an AI agent. And so we are running essentially a platform that'll give homeowners their own AI agent and constantly look for opportunities to save money, save time, and generally just delegate menial tasks, right, to your agent and do more important things with your family. So that's the top level pitch. I mean, you can talk about how we started off funding and all this stuff, maybe.
I can maybe just show up this small 5-page PPT that we have to kind of, represents what
Yeah,
we are or what the
that'd
current
be great.
stage of the project is. Let me just kind of do this. So,
Awesome.
so this is basically what HomePulse is. It's an organization tool, right? So it basically organizes all the information, all your data, and kind of keeps everybody who's aligned with that property organized with that data. So what we're trying to solve is basic 3 problems, right? One, where are your documents that you need? Obviously, if there's a cost effectiveness to solve a problem, then, not to pay for any services. And third, like Rahul said, we don't want to miss out on deadlines, right? Be it insurances, specifically insurances these days. If you miss out, there's a higher chance you will never get that insurance back. And I think Ashish, with his insurance experience, can, vouch on that. With, at least in California, that's a big hazard, right, at this point. Um, so what we're kind of building a system is you can just scan your documents or just take a picture of that documents and just email it to the agent that we build, and it will organize that data. It will organize that data in a way, like, let's say that if you have an HOA payment coming in every month, you take a bill of your HOA payment, send it to that agent, and make sure that you click that, it inform me every month. It will start informing you that, hey, this is the payment that you need to make every month. And obviously, as we go, it will start taking that payment out also. So you don't have to ever do it. And all of that gets sorted out. Then obviously, if the invoices that, let's say that Rahul said, if he gets an email saying that something needs to be paid and he puts that on HomePulse, everybody who's assigned to that HomePulse account, all of the family members, will also get a notification for it. And accordingly, if Rahul is out of the country and has no access to make those payments, at least you have somebody who's making that payment and not losing that payment. So this is just let me just minimize this. This is just a cost reduction through expenses comparables, right? So right now, everybody thinks and talks about when it comes to homes are mortgage rates and stuff. Uh, like we were having a discussion with regarding to real estate. These days, even the insurance cost is coming, is going to be something that which is very important, and that will decide if you get a home loan or not, or if you'll be able to buy a property or not. So what we're building is with the data that comes in, we'll help you compare your property against anybody else in the same neighborhood, something which is very similar. So in that sense, let's say if you're, you bought a house and as soon as you get into a house, you find out that, hey, your insurance, then it will make everybody aware that this is the benchmark for it. Or, if you want to see as to what your neighbor's insurances and everything is, then at least with those comparables, you'll be like, hey, maybe I'm underinsured, overinsured. At least that will give you the right data to get over. And similarly with utilities, property taxes, and especially mortgages, where you can find out, hey, for this specific kind of a mortgage, what is the going rate? And with all of this data connected, you just opens up so much opportunities. Just for the AI agent, opens up so much opportunity. Like for example, if Ashish goes and buys the property with one of his realtor partners, and he's like, hey, I bought this property with 25-30% down, and I'm getting this much rent. He puts that data in. Now everybody gets that opportunity to, grab such a property. We're not disclosing that Ashish bought a property. We're disclosing like, hey, there's an opportunity in this market where if you put enough 25%, 30% down with this kind of mortgage interest rate, with this kind of insurance, your ROI could be 4%, 10%, depending on what it is, right? So that's what
That
even
is
builders try.
Yeah, I think that's huge because right now people grapple and try to figure out, is my mortgage, am I paying, like, at least compared to neighbors, am I paying the lowest? Is my loan okay? Am I in a good spot? Same thing with
Yes,
investors when somebody's buying, and Pramit can probably chime into this. When you're buying a single family home or whatever, you want to make sure that the rental will cover it. And if you can get data around like, hey, other people are getting so much rent around that particular house, that gives you immense information about, to be able to save and feel more bullish about getting into that
yeah,
investment.
exactly, Gautam. So there's enough people who have a lot of cash, but what they don't know is where to go buy it. Where's the opportunity? Where would they get the best ROI? All they're sitting on is one realtor. Obviously, one realtor cannot disclose. There are 50 states in the US, and 50 states with are gazillion properties, right? With good opportunities. Right now, you'll come, a real estate agent can only say this much, and he'll come back and say that, hey, maybe Riverside is a good opportunity, Fresno is a good opportunity, whatever it is, right? But what is good opportunity unless you have numbers with it, right? One person goes in and puts like, hey, I'm gonna put a dibs on it and I'm gonna go get it. They do it. Everybody else has an opportunity to go invest in that area. It just
So,
opens
so I
up
have a
that information.
It does. So I have a question here. So let's say there is a property and we know the selling price for the property. We know the going mortgage rate, right, in the industry, and we know the monthly payments. And your system can find all the neighboring homes that are rented for a particular price in the same price range, like a monthly mortgage. But then you also know the cost to maintain these homes in that neighborhood, right?
Exactly.
The utilities, the property tax. So could you almost do an ROI analysis? I don't know if does HomePulse do it today.
That
So
is
let's say if I want to buy a house, it tells me this will be the mortgage, this will be the cost, this will be a net cash flow, right? Does it do that? And I mean, that'll be
that's the goal for HomePulse. Once you have enough users come in, that's what we want to present. Like it's we want the system to do the brains for you, be the brains for you on making those uh, you know reasons for buying or not buying the property, right? So if let's say that Gautam, if you go buy a property in Lathrop today for 700,000 with 30% down and you're getting a $6,000 rent, that goes out there. Then if I have that kind of money, why wouldn't I want that kind of rent, right? And obviously with the information, if you put your information in HomePulse, it'll be there for like it's not disclosing your personal information, but that property information is there for everybody take a jab at, right, at that point.
So if I can ask one quick question here.
Sure.
The way I see it is the landscape is all spread by different players that very much go into its own niche areas. Like let's say Zillow, to be very specific about home rentals or property values or whatnot, right? And then you have lending trees and others for mortgage and whatnot, right? And then you have for insurance, you can probably go with the newer apps like Insurify and a lot of things, right? So basically all these apps are and maybe Nest for home and automation and other things that you go if there is any way altogether in a single contiguous homeowner intelligence platform, because each app either focuses on its own internal automation and whatnot,
Exactly.
right? So
Yes.
so you understand, right? So that way, we can have something that allows if and just for example, I have a property, say in San Francisco, and it will tell me that hey, there's a home leak at that property, or there's a seismic retrofit that needs to be done, or the insurance should be 20% lower because my neighbor's home has that. So the insurers can probably honor that or whatever. We can show the comparables and things like that. So that differentiation, if it can be brought over the crowdsourced data that you probably bring in from various sources, transparently available or whatnot, and within maybe zero 0.5 miles of my radius or within 1 mile of my radius, or whatever that may be, with similar square footage, or you'd find, the premiums being paid less or more or whatever. That way we can cover that. So I was just wondering if
So Pramit,
that.
I'll give you an example, right? All you said is that's pretty perfect as to what we're trying to build here, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say Rahul lives in a neighborhood where a lot of people put their Diwali lights on, right? So once Rahul puts a notification that, hey, every month in September, I want to put my Diwali light on. And if somebody puts an invoice for theirs, going forward, it would do reminders telling you, hey, about time you get those things done. And this is a guy who's doing it for $500 and you're getting it done for 1,000. So maybe we can do a bundle up and send it to a vendor, or you can just choose that vendor at that point, right? So the goal that Rahul said, the goal for this HomePulse is not to just collect your data, but to make the best use case for it. So if how the process is, if we get to our stage 3, stage 4, we get you to do all of these things here on the portal itself. You don't have to go out and go to Insurify. You can just do it here. Ashish as an insurance agent is there, who's, he could just do we are capturing all the data for the insurance. We're capturing your dwelling, deductibles and everything. So all you need to do is basically send it out and he can run a quote saying, hey, this is what you have, this is what you can get. And if you like you said, am I underinsured, I'm overinsured, looking at the comparables, the same thing's going to happen to your neighbor too. He would be questioning it too, right? Is he
Exactly.
underinsured? Is he overinsured? If he's paying more or less? Because think of it,
And it can also extend to the marketplace, like contractors that are offering
exactly. So
upgrades
we'll,
and roofs or retrofits or whatever that may be. And maybe all this fragmented information can all be
Exactly. You touched
comboed into
upon
a
it.
single core, similar to like what we do with a credit score, right? So it's like home ownership, like health score or something like that, saying, hey,
so
Exactly.
you've hit
Pramit, I
the
think you touched
topic on
upon
the
the
nail.
exact
Yeah.
pain point.
So what we're trying to do is
Yeah. So I think
everything.
we are.
And also, let me just complete this. So what we're trying to do
Go
is
ahead.
we're taking all of this information is out there to every individual players, right? Your mortgage guy has that information. Insurance guy has a separate information. What we're taking that is we're reversing the technology. We're giving you the information so you decide what you want, right, at this point, rather than them deciding as to what they want out of your information, right? For example, like you said, we were thinking about the vendor part of it, right? If 10 people are trying to get solar in that same neighborhood, right, then it should be an advantageous thing that one vendor gets those 10 contracts and gives you a discount through it, right, rather than individually everybody going there and getting it done. So
exactly.
how you've described it is that's exactly what we're building, and we want to make it like all that stress-free and all that automated, right? Like I said, Diwali lights is a simple example, right? You don't want to be calling them on, hey, this is 28th already. We still don't have the lights up. It should pass on that information to the guy saying that, hey, you come do it every year. It's about time you come do it right now. And 1 month later, hey, it's time for this to go, right? All of that stuff, right?
And speaking of which, last year when we went with Diwali lights, you will not believe, just a couple of guys were searching for that, and we found something, and we just shared across 15 of our friends, and everybody just got turn by turn, and we were so lucky to have it before Diwali day hit. And it was amazing. Likewise, also mortgage. There was one mortgage vendor. This was a couple of years back, before the 400 basis point hit us bad. We were able to refinance. Everybody in our group was able to refinance with that one guy. So, things like that. So if this platform can bring in that type of differentiation, not just insights, but some actionable pathways to probably uh, protect and save money, or basically making sure that we get a better deal, better coverage, better offerings, and whatever it's a business. It's a business for others, and
Yes,
it's also gives us lots of further leverage.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. I think
So
we are going exactly to your point, right? There are. Go ahead, Aman.
what I'm saying is, like, you know, real
Go
estate,
ahead.
especially in California or now all across the US, is at least a $500,000 or $1 million. Think of it as $1 million business, right? When we open up $1 million business, we're trying to squeeze the cost of a pen too, right? Hey, like, why did you order 20 different pens, right? We could have just, or we're, renting smaller office space, whatever it is, right? Then why are we not running this as a business, which is giving you such a big ROI? Most real estate in California are doing 5 to 7% increase every year. So why not run it as a business, right? Run it systematically in an organized fashion. That's what we're trying to do.
I think there's also lack of. Sorry, Ashish, I'll just say one line. I
Yeah.
think there's also lack of awareness. Most people have the mindset that you buy the house, wait for 30 years, or never sell, maybe. So I think that stigma, and people don't understand the total cost of ownership, and like, hey, I'm putting money into this. How much am I really making? Right. I think that is just lack.
So Gautam, so funny. Sorry to cut you in, but this is how HomePulse started.
Yeah,
Rahul had a
exactly.
property, right? And he had a realtor who reached out to him. Hey, you bought it for $1 million. We can sell it for $2 million. You have a loan on it for $500,000. You've already made $1 million on it. But
Exactly.
if you go
It's
do the
not true.
math, there's the cost of ownership, which is the interest that you paid, the maintenance that you paid, and everything. And that came out to be like $600,000. And he's like, should I be selling this house, which is getting me 7,000 rent for a 400,000 meager gain?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
on paper, it's $1 million gain, but in reality, it's just a $400,000-$300,000 gain, right? And for a
I don't think
$400,000
today this
property,
exists. Yeah, nobody knows this information today.
Right.
yep.
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just making a comment is because this is something everyone has this in the neighborhoods from next door to WhatsApp group for each development. So is this information is there in all these separate platforms. So it looks like you're gonna combine all this, put it in one. Because we went through something similar. It wasn't Diwali lights, it was automatic water shut-off system where 17 of us got together with one plumber,
Yes.
give us a group discount. It started with one homeowner and then it went through 17
Did you
of
get
us
the
getting it down.
Moin shut off valve?
Moan shut off because it's becoming a requirement
I
for
got
most
that one
insurance
too.
companies to renew. Yeah. So, I got a call from one of the neighbors and then we did a little research and got one of the plumbers to come out and give a group discount to everybody. But it's beneficial where I can go to your platform and see, get all that information in one place. The other part of it was, we were talking about vendors getting information or vendors collaborating with homeowners, right? The information passing both ways. So are you looking at also from an advertising revenue standpoint down the road
Well, let me
vendors
just
maybe
let me tap into it, right? So firstly, just to summarize all these things, right? Our V1 is to solve for the homeowner, right? So if you haven't solved for it, the investment properties and all that game doesn't quite play off. So for homeowners, we have three things, right? Complete organization of your finances, when the payments are being made, where are they being made. We miss out on loan transfers and all those kinds of things, right? The clerical aspects of running a house. The second, as you pointed out, we call them neighborhood yellow pages. So effectively, my wife never wants to call somebody from stranger from Yelp or something, right? She wants me to call him, or she'll call her neighbors and have that person come in, right, for whatever safety reason. So we are aggregating that, right? Just keep the list of people, strange services, people walking into a neighborhood to the minimum, right? So safety is for a second thing. So we are touching on that. You will get pretty much a neighborhood yellow pages, right? Then the third thing we're tracking is insurance, because everybody's top of their mind is what's my insurance? It's the easiest low-hanging fruit to save money or optimize on, right? So between the three is our flywheel to start collecting really good data, right? Now, of course, to your point, Ashish, eventually we are building vetted yellow pages, right? So essentially, all those businesses that are already walking into our neighborhoods fixing things, we will actually create their yellow page portal, right, with vetted ratings from within the community. And so you're right, we will pass them leads, advertising, all the revenue models come into play. And this is a huge play, actually, frankly. As you can imagine, average household, if you start optimizing it with an AI agent, it's a huge revenue model for all of us. And frankly, that's the way it should work, right? We're already seeing those efficiencies on WhatsApp, except they are inefficient because you keep asking for the same information again and again. Every new
Cannot
guy who
track it.
joins the group,
Yeah.
he says, hey, what's the plumber? And now there are 5 numbers. And now
Correct.
we don't know which one to call, which of those 5,
Yeah.
right? So here, the system you talk to an AI and it'll tell you like, hey, 5 guys came by last week, 3 had great ratings. My mowing guy actually didn't do a good job, ironically, right? But I didn't have a second number. So I'm like, what do I do? I ended up referring the same guy to other 4 guys, right? But anyway, the point is we are solving the V1 from a homeowner's perspective, a complete 360-degree portal for the homeowner. Once that's solved, you will see that your data now works for you, right? No more are you comparing 3 insurance quotes. It's still stupid today. Now, I was just trying to get a quote. I got 3 quotes from my 4 agents. And I'm sitting there like looking at the numbers, right? Like, and they never really 100% match. That's an AI job. Why am I acting like a clerk, right? In 2025. And so we effectively will save you time, right? So that's what we are first going at. And then second comes realtors, leads, marketing, so I think in the long run, if we solve it for the homeowner properly, we're going to not only disrupt, but we're also going to give the most quality data on homeownership. Like a lot of guys say my Zillow estimate is wrong because I put bathroom in, or I put flooring in, I put new
That's
sunroom in,
not
right? Whom are you
captured.
going to
Yeah.
argue with? You're still competing
Yeah.
with the guy who didn't put the sunroom in, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's left to the realtor to tell the advantage that, hey, no, this house is definitely worth 80,000 more or not.
Exactly.
And so
just
it's
just
time that the homeowners own our data, and that becomes the golden truth, right? The golden data record of your home, and it passes on. So when I sell my house, I'm not just giving the keys. I'm giving the guy who installed the dishwasher, and he knows that there's 2-year installation warranty, right? All of that goes. The heater, it had been installed like maybe a year ago, right? All that is readily available to the next owner, and so on and so forth. So we expect once we solve it for the family, everything else starts getting disrupted, as you can imagine, right?
like a
I
Kelly
think that
book
also
service,
helps with
right?
appraisal.
Yeah, it'll be like the
Correct.
data is like a Kelly Blue Book service, right? You give it pass it from one homeowner to the other one, like who did my plumbing or whatever it is, that you're not running around finding out what's the problems are, because that guy already did the plumbing, knows about it, all of that stuff, right? And Ashish, like you pointed out, for example, on the window side of it, if Rahul is getting a bathroom remodel or a kitchen remodel, then the other guy shouldn't have to put his brain cells into it as to, hey, how much would it cost if it's a 300 square foot kitchen, and if it costed Rahul 25,000 to do it, and if you're getting a budget of 45,000, maybe you're doing those calculator tiles and stuff like that. Otherwise, that's the average cost you should be going with. At least it'll give you a ballpark figure to go with on that remodel and stuff.
Absolutely.
Correct.
One thing,
I have a
yeah,
question on the organization part of it. Because I recently went through this, my own experience at work and personal experience also. So, a couple of things. One is in the last few years, because we have a very aging population in this country. That's one. Second thing, I think all of us, some of us are near that stage where we are empty nesters. Our kids are either moved away out of town, working elsewhere, or they're busy with their lives, right? So a lot of it is falling on us. And recently we redid our trust. And my wife and I, we started traveling quite a bit. So our concern is, of course, about what you just mentioned when you opened this call. Having everything in one place is, God forbid, something happens to both
yeah,
of us. What's the next step? Where do you start? And I've been getting a lot of these calls as people are passing away. I get the first phone call about, what do I do next? Do you have an attorney? Can you recommend this person? What do I do now? Who do I call now? Who do I call at the bank? What do I do? And when I
So
spoke to
basically,
my living trust guy, I said, do you have like a sheet or something, next steps? Or what are the things I need to check off? And his answer was, there's actually nothing out there.
boy.
You need to Google it.
so Ashish, for that, if this works out in next 5 years, what you'll do is log into HomePass to find out who's your trusted attorney and everybody is.
Yeah,
Because
no, I think
we went through this stage of, why we're building this is we've spoken to trust attorneys. He's one of our good advisors on this too. And he's been following up our journey with HomePulse. And we follow up so the good part with HomePulse is every property has a team, which will be like your real estate agent that helped you buy, a loan officer that helped you get a loan, title company that you close your title with, so that if tomorrow something happens to anyone, at least you're not missing your mortgage payment because you don't know where the mortgage is going for, which account it's going for. All
can
of
I
that data
share my
gets
screen?
connected. Yeah, you can share the screen. I'll stop sharing right now, and then we'll come back.
So also, but like, what are the next steps? What do I need to do? I cannot tell you how many times a month I have to have this conversation with folks who really are paralyzed as to who do I call next? What do I do after this? And what do I do after that? And things are, in this country, everything works on a legal basis. You will not have access to certain things when that happens. So that is my second thing was, because I have two girls, I'm a little biased that way, is everything is very male dominated. And you had mentioned that, Raman, you and Rahul, did you go, who was in India? And then your wife, should have picked it up and done it. So make something that is more user friendly to the next generation for women, where it's easy to use and easy to understand for them.
So Gautam will watch
we
for this
spent a
because
year
we
and a
did
half.
just one more. We did
I remember
a
we
demo
did.
for people in Mountain House.
I can chime in. So these guys did a launch, soft launch, and they invited me, obviously, and there were couples, and all the women basically kind of resonated based on what you just said, Ashish. Like, no, it's high time. We need to. Why are we not getting access? And one of them even said that the system should lock out the husband if the wife is not involved, or something like that. It became a very, and that showed the problem, right? Is like, it was pretty funny.
So here you will be able to
catching on,
attach
make it
team
simple, right?
members.
Yes, make it very simple.
And you'll be able to attach your family members, as in like your wife, your kids, as a part of the team on the real estate side of it. So they will have access to it.
So
whatever bills, whatever you're doing, they will also get a notification out of it. You can show it also.
what, as techies, our V1 was, come here, enter your loan, come here, enter your address, come here, do this, do that, right? And it worked for my couple of homes. But then when I went to the first early users, they were like, this is good, but I don't want to do data entry, right? Homeowners it makes all sense, but Rahul, this is too clerical, right? So we took that as a challenge. And thankfully, that's when the agentic AI wave kicked off, right? There are a bunch of startups we're partnering with right now. The CEO of Indexify AI is on our board, completely enabling our AI workflows. So let me show you the automation, actually, just so the first glance of the demo. Again, we are still, like I said, raising money, validating the product, right? And we are in the growth phase, like the early take. But let me just...
Rahul, while you do that, I want to bring a big question that I know a lot of people asked in the launch we had, and I want to make sure that Pramit and Ashish also kind of chime into that. Is security a concern? Like, Ashish, you have insurance documents, you have mortgage documents, and like, would your insurance company find a problem? Because I mean, it is still secure, but again, it's going out into another app or another. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel that's a concern, Pramit or Ashish, or do you think, from your perspective, yeah, it's okay in today's world?
Insurance is far more regulated than any other product in this country, especially in California. So there are certain things that I cannot even send to a lender directly. Has to go to the insured. What the insured does with it, it's on them. But directly from an insurance company, there are certain things which cannot go to anyone else other than the insured, certain documents. But you as a consumer have the freedom, because you are paying for the product. You as a consumer can put anything you want out there. No one can stop you from doing that. But from an insurance standpoint, even pricing, and there are so many variables in an insurance product, and that's why it's been so difficult to like create a platform to accurately quote a product, insurance product, especially today with things are changing so quickly month by month in the insurance market. The differentiation in price could be almost 25, 30, sometimes even 50%, depending on what one person has I can give you an example. There are homes insured in developments on one side of the street you can insure, right across the street you cannot. Or even if you can, that risk is far greater because of certain, just because of its location, of what it backs into, and its history, that, or even the insured's history of claims,
Correct.
that person may be paying 50% more on price. So other than that, it's on you as a consumer. If you want to enter that information, you have full control of that.
But do you think this would be a concern in general for people? Like I understand that, as a regulatory, you cannot share that. But do you think consumers, would they be concerned? Is there any information in the loan documents which, like Rahul and Aman need, which HomePulse needs, that you think could be a security breach, or like in general, consumers might not be like too okay with it, or would they be concerned, or is it just pretty general stuff? I'm just asking, like both for real estate mortgages as well as insurance or other stuff. I mean, is it just
So
typical
Gautam,
stuff?
I'll take a jibe at it, and then Rahul can obviously come into it. So, your property taxes, public data, right? If I know your property address, I can get your property taxes. The loans that you have is there at the county, right? So getting data from the county is available. You pay a fees, and that data is available for everybody. I can go get everybody who lives in Livermore that data as to who their lender is and everybody is. That is all uploaded on the county. We are not tracking anything from the public domains that is not present on public domains, right? When it comes to your data, like, hey, if you want to upload your mortgage note and your mortgage statement, then it's completely your choice, right? That the technology is there for safeguarding, the encryption is there, and everything is there, but it's not something that we are going and taking it out and then advertising it, right? That data is there to build your own dashboard. It's not being sent anywhere else. But yeah, the let's say, like the example that I gave you, if you go buy a property at 6% interest rate and the payment comes out to be $4,500, what we're advertising is, hey, somebody XYZ, like not naming the person, like somebody bought this property with this monthly payment with this much, down
Just general
payment.
numbers.
And this is the ROI, right? So we're not disclosing Gautam bought it or Ashish bought it or Aman bought it. It's people buying property. That data is already there, right? If you go ask the builder will say, hey, I sold 10 homes at 900,000. You're not saying that Gautam bought 10 homes at 900,000.
Yep. Got it.
Even when it comes to
So
yellow pages,
Let me show
that's
you
the
a
way.
demo actually.
I mean, there's a certain amount of data that people are going to be skeptical to put out there. Your loan number, your policy, like for an insurance, will be your policy number. It'll be under who owns title to the vehicle and who's insured, ages, number of years driving. There's certain things but then there is a page where you can just load up where it's just declaration, your coverages and the premium.
That's
So
exactly what
it
we're
again
working with.
yeah, so it again depends on the person. If the person's comfortable giving everything out, I personally don't feel comfortable giving out some of all that information, because then it's very easy to get the rest, your date of birth and other things, and then create havoc into your identity, with
So
that
just the
information.
part on the date of birth, there is already a
Yeah.
website that will give you your date of birth, your generational date of birth.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying. So now you have the loan number and the others. If you go into some of the websites for lenders, what do you need? A loan number, borrower's last name, zip code, or date of birth, right? And now
no
you're in,
social security. So yeah, that's the
yeah, no
most
social
important part.
security, or even last four of a social security, right? So you're in. And so that's why as a consumer, I would be skeptical. But then I can speak on the insurance side, and same thing on the mortgage side. You can black out the loan number,
Yep.
and then just load up the documents, which just gives the other part of it, some people do not want their loan balances disclosed, right? People work in funny things. It's a comfort level for each individual.
Correct.
So
And I
yeah,
think
exactly. Go ahead,
so.
also.
We are, like I said, I think we're in the phase where we are people, user-driven product management going on. We think we have so much value to offer and revenue models without sharing your data, right? The simple goal I have is to become the AAA for homeowners, right? Our smallest investment, $20,000 car, has a $300 annual membership, right?
Right.
But our biggest asset has nothing, right? So even if I just stick to $200 a year home, and we guarantee you're going to get your savings back, because we will. That's our internal goal, that the system should pay for itself, and it will, as you can imagine, right? right there is a huge business model, right? We don't need to be sharing your data to anyone, right? That's for businesses that have no intrinsic value, right? We don't depend on sharing your personal data and all this stuff. So we don't have a need to necessarily sell your data, right? Our users are passionate. They are giving us challenges. Some are much more forthcoming about their private data and like loaded up, right? But anyways, let me give you a quick demo on automation, right? I think to your point, if we keep people busy with something else, that's not good. So we have to make it simple. So I'm signing
Before you,
in here.
Rahul, proceed, Pramit, did you have any questions? Seems like.
No, I'm fine. Let's keep moving. Yep. At the end, I have one quick comment on a few things that we talked about initially. But yes, let's keep moving. Yes.
So I will add one of my properties. This is the
So you're
598
not sharing
Calistoga
it.
Circle, Fremont.
Rahul is not sharing.
Yeah, you're not sharing it.
Give me 1 second. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Let me just log back in. So two-factor authentication, first of all. There's no passwords to remember. Everyone gets a code. That's first level security. Now, I don't have any property, but I'll add my investment property that I have in Fremont, my last home, right? This is your insurance here. But imagine these are your standard, at the time of buying, those are your documents, your appraisal. So was your appraisal, who insurance declaration, purchase agreement, HOA, and HOA details can be added here, right? Like a lot of times, nobody else knows where the HOA is. This is very, very interesting problem. And then your home size, it's a 5-bedroom or a 4-bedroom. We
Rahul,
need to be.
quick question on this. Are these documents stored in encrypted fashion? Like, can HomePulse team see these documents or no?
These are encrypted by AWS. So we use Amazon security, right? But only you as a user will see it. Now, of course, there is some data we have to see to help you, right? But now this is the cool part, right? As soon as I add the home, look at it. It picked up all public data for my house since 2005. Again, guys, this is public data, right? This is not spying on you or nothing.
Correct.
Anybody can pull this data today. The point I'm trying to make is your data is today working for others, not for you. And we want to change that paradigm. Imagine when you flip it around, now you're talking true democratization of data working for you with AI, right? With AI automation. So my wife wouldn't know all these costs that were there. I wouldn't know all the costs since 2005. Boom. It will quickly pull all my purchase price, 720,000. Is it paid off? No, it's not paid off yet. Payment method is a loan. I can set that up. And I just go save. If there's no HOA, but I can put that in here. I can add my agent at that time in 2005, whoever was the agent. And these people are useful for, like in the case something happens, at least now we are like not in Fremont anymore, right? So we know, my wife would know or my kids would know whom to call. And that's it. I store it. It's doing furthermore public data fetching. And boom, right there, this number, you will not believe, is almost accurate to 99.99% based on 2005 onwards. I did financing and refinancing. Imagine that. If I ask you guys today to sell my house and tell me my cost basis, you're going to spend a month trying to find the closing costs, trying to find your refinances that you did some 2005. You are walking away with an arbitrary tax savings, right? You're just like, okay, sell it, khatam kar do, right? Finish it off. And you're walking away, your family, your kids, your wife is walking away with 20, 30, $40,000 in capital gains, right? That they could save in profit. So we are targeting all of that. So we'll reduce your capital gains tax, right, as a promise. So the price is 1.6 mil today. Estimated gains is that, and based on true cost of ownership since 2005, finance only, right? I didn't add improvements and all that stuff. And it's currently been rented, so I could even actually add a tenant here and his rental income and where it's going, right? So my wife sees everything that's going on in this house. Who's the property manager, everything, right? It can also give you loan calculators that you typically can find on bank. So we can do it for you. But
the average rent estimate, is that calculated through neighboring properties or?
So we API, right? We use currently we're not solving everything, right? As 2-3 people startup, we are leveraging everything, right? So this is a public data API we leveraged. Rent estimate is, again, we have integrated with the Rentometer, right? Which is actually. So this is interesting. Rentometer says 4,598. I'm renting it for 5,000, right? So I can actually tell my neighbor will know that not price your rent for this, right? Because I'm getting 5,000, so you can at least get to 4,900, right? So anyways, we're optimizing renting, we're optimizing everything through crowdsourcing. I didn't do anything here, as you can imagine, right? I can quickly change my down payment to finish off my loan faster, and it will tell me that, hey, if I want to retire and pack up in the next 5 years, I just need to pay 600 more and close out the balance, right? And save $116,000 in interest, right? All these are there everywhere, but they don't work for you. How often do you go to a bank site and do this? Now, your kids, your whoever wants to learn homeownership can sit here and quickly figure out ways to save money here, right? Anyways, now one thing that happens, and let me know, for the first time ever, patent pending, your home will give you a statement like your bank does. So my whole family will get a statement. I'll just go back here. I can add family. So my wife, and notice I didn't do any data entry, by the way. So she gets an invite. Now she also gets the statement, everything that's going on. It gives you complete breakdown of where my taxes are, when is due, how much is it, what's my rental estimate, what's my monthly expense, right? It depends on how numeric, how accounting you're interested in, right? It will also give you the reminders. Now let me show you the insurance part of it. How do I add insurance to my, this is where all you have is a phone and a photo, right? You take an email, and Calistoga was the street. I'm going to say insurance, and I'm going to take my document, Calistoga insurance, 30 pages. No, I want something else. This one is my insurance, right? All I did is this, Safeco is my insurance. Declaration, like you said, and I send it to Calistoga. This is my AI, right? I could also send expenses, since this is a rental, but think of it as any home, right? I can say Calistoga is my street because I have another home, primary home in Pleasanton, right? So maintenance, fixed, plumbing with Moen flow stopper or $800. Dave Garcia 510 was the guy who did it. Correct? Damn it, failed.
Real demo. That happens.
So I just have a question on this regarding updating all your costs, right? Are you just taking a photo of the deck page and it loads up, or a photo of all the remodeling? So, as you mentioned, capital gains
Yes,
and
so
those things
so
come
you
into
can take
account.
pictures or do the
Okay.
PDF and just email it to docs at HomePulse, and the AI reader reads through it and puts that information in the rightful sections of maintenance, improvements, or insurance.
Got it. Okay. Because, everything that goes up every year, your property taxes, insurance, those kind of things, right?
So the
Cost
property
of
taxes are
maintenance and
taken
all.
from property taxes are from the county website. So every year, if it's getting updated,
It's
it's getting
pulling
updated
it.
from the yes, it's pulling
Okay.
it from the
It's pulling
county
it
website.
directly. Okay.
Insurance, every year you get, let's say that Ashish, you have clients, you send them insurance quote, updated insurance every year. And as soon as they get it, all they have to do is forward it to docs at HomePulse. And that
Got
will
it.
get
Okay.
updated on their sheet there. And first year, second year, every time that the cost is adding up, it's going towards the true homeownership cost. So you understand as to what you've spent just to be in this house, right? That's what we're trying to define.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, it's our user interface is all about emailing as natural. Bill pay is coming soon. Anybody in the family walks into the house, there is 3 bills to be paid. Instead of keeping it somewhere where somebody's supposed to look at it, you open it up, take a picture, email it to your agent, and it will figure out the due dates, figure out that, and eventually even ask you, do you want me to just pay this bill? Because you always pay this bill without really disputing it, right?
Can
And
you
it'll
go to
do
the
it.
Teams
You shouldn't have to go send a check.
and show the plumber thing that got added?
I don't think that got added
No,
yet. I think there is
yeah,
some
it got
setting
added on
issue.
the plumber.
Teams. No, it's not showing up. But anyways, I think the teams get added like that, right? We do have some
So
work cut out.
go
But
to
yeah,
search
essentially,
and then
can search. No, I can search yellow pages here. So in the yellow pages now, these are called neighborhood yellow pages. I can click for all the people with plumbing that people have used. So these are real people that neighbors have used, right? Dave Garcia, see that? The one I added just now?
Yeah.
Showed up. It, of course, in the neighborhood yellow pages, we won't show who was used in Dave
who
Garcia
used
because
it and
that's my
stuff. Yeah.
privacy information. Correct.
But it tells you how much amount they spent or whatever based on the services.
No, we currently don't tell
Average?
them spent. We just give you
Okay.
that 3 people in a neighborhood
Recommended.
use Dave Garcia, right? Eventually.
Very cool.
Yeah. So essentially, as you say, like, we are democratizing the system effectively. Insurance comms are also coming. So very quickly, I already know somebody has a, $752 insurance comp in Fremont around that area. Or in Pleasanton, we have so many homes in that range. And we don't know which the homes are. So we are securing your privacy data. But I can at least know where the price points are, right? For a 3,800 square feet house, somebody's paying 2,500, right? And frankly, this is my previous insurance before the fire thing happened, right? So I actually now I'm going through a saving process where I'm calling RVI to move my Sage Port to RVI and save $2,000.
That is so
So it
amazing. I
just
mean,
gives
there's
you a
full
starting
visibility.
point.
Yeah.
It might not get you somewhere, but at least like who to call, get where to reach. Let's like how Ashish said, your property could be like you could have a bad history with insurance, and that's why your rate is high. But at least you should know about it. Sometimes, like I'll give you my example. The property that I acquired had a flood issue, right? And I'm like, hey, my history is clean. Why my insurance is getting it to 4,000? And he's like, oh, the seller might have missed out on telling you that they had a flood damage on the property. And I'm like, okay, I'm backing off from this property.
Yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
why should I be buying like if you're not ready to disclose it to me? So
I would almost think this in the future will become like a requirement, like, hey, show me the home pulse record. And if you don't have it, there's a red flag. Think about like 5
exactly
years, 10
like
years
I
from
said,
now.
like Kelly Blue Book, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
pass on the information on the history of the property. Yes.
Perfect.
And or while selling, I remember when I sold my previous house, the realtor asked me, okay, tell about all your upgrades so we can price in. And I had to really think. I didn't have something in front of me, right? That's a huge value. And then the last one is, like you said, WhatsApp groups. I mean, yeah, people just give opinions like, yeah, you can take these 5 names, but this is telling you exactly people that your neighbor used, or and
Yeah.
I think that's huge because it's not based on opinions, it's real fact. Cool. Pramit, you wanted to share something? I think we're almost at the end of the demo. Anything you
Yeah,
wanted to ask?
I think this is great stuff that you all shared. Where I feel there's a gap, and I think it touches on the point that Ashish had mentioned about many areas in the nation, including California, which have become very cost prohibitive in terms of insuring, very expensive premiums, or maybe premiums unavailable, fare cannot even fulfill the
Describe it.
basic
Yeah.
requirements. So what I feel is that there is a need to democratize the need to put your own fire defense systems. Like, if you recall the recent Palisades fires, or the ones that occurred in Napa, Bay Area, and other areas, LA Hills and whatnot, right? Those who had their fire systems were the ones who were able to defend it. I mean, when there's a real huge pressure on the public systems, you will not find water in it, or you will not find
Exactly.
stuff in it. And it's very important to rely on yourself. Maybe some bare bones system that allows you to at least have something like your own water tank, your own little swimming pool from where you can have a submersible pump and deploy some fire retardant systems. And lot many companies are coming across. But this type of information, if it's available across where these amber efficient or amber resistant vents are available and whatnot. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things to talk about, but there are many LD owners who are, if let's say Ashish, what he was mentioning was that it might be 100K, 130K to just insure the homes every year. Then in that case, it might be just be better off to you having your own private fire engines, or other, do something about it. So I'm just feeling that there is a strong need to come up with that type of democratization of information. There are many companies who offer this right now. I mean, I can have an irrigation system put around my house periphery, several periphery layers, and I can have insurance then be able to at least say that something is out there that is of professional quality, professionally installed, and off-grid systems which have like 20,000, 10,000 gallon water tanks and whatnot to be foam capable, pump capable. I mean, that can be, this information is of utmost importance as far as we stay in those areas. So
So
I feel
Pramit,
that, that information should be brought into
Pramit,
this app.
what we will do in this app is, if let's say you do it around your house, we will. So there's a recommendation section in the app. So then it will do recommendations for every other homeowner that this is something that you can do. But whereas coming up to even the for a sense to create a data has to come. Somebody has to do it, right, for it to get fed. in that information. So if people around, like
No,
you
and I
said, the
think
Palisades fire.
we
So
talked about
Palisades fire is a prime example, right? At that point.
So, Parvit, I'm working with one of my policyholders in the Palisades fire. I have a claim from there, and he turned it out to be a very influential guy at very high up in Facebook. So he has now taken this up as a career completely, and he was actually in New York with Clinton and all of them at the climate change. He was one of the speakers there, and working with the top architects in the country about fire mitigation, fire prevention. The next step is going to be litigation. Rebuilding of Palisades is actually going to be the first example of new construction and new
Yeah,
mitigation measures. This will be the
I was
first
about to say that.
example. Yeah.
Half
Absolutely.
the people,
So I'm
half
very
the people
involved
that,
with him on
sorry.
a weekly basis on that thing.
So on
Exactly.
the Palisades case, go ahead, from complete.
No, go ahead. I was just
So
saying that if
I was,
the math over the 10-year horizon looks good, then it might very well be something that we can all kind of sketch in to provide some type of basically system that would definitely, Ashish, if you can share that information, and I think we can make it more.
I think the
so
first thing changing is your sprinkler systems in the house.
yeah,
These ones are not, the ones we currently have are completely deficient
outdated.
because
Yeah,
they flood the house completely. Even for a small fire, the new systems are going to be very AI run, very focused
yeah,
on
focused. Yeah,
exactly on the spot where there's a fire with the exact amount of water to be sprayed or foam.
Exactly.
so
Sprinklers, mist lines. I mean, you name it, across the roof
Correct.
and
Yeah.
decks and defense. I mean, whatever perimeters you can defend. Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
But that's down the road. Yeah. That's all
yeah,
in
just
legislation right now.
exactly. Just touching on the Palisades, I think Ashish, since he already had the client, most of the properties are getting sold at penny to a dollar is because people have been living there for years, and the insurances that they had was too low for it to be rebuilt. They never even understood that they are underinsured at that point. They didn't have any systems to tell them that they're underinsured because lenders only require insurances to cover their loan part. If you bought a house 20 years back, only a good insurance agent will keep telling you every year that, hey, you need to get it updated.
Yeah.
Somebody is like, just let
There's
it
a lot
go.
of apathy in the market too. A lot of
Yeah,
people in the past, I have even people today up here, mostly I see more in Northern California than Southern California, is where people say, I don't want to review it because you're going to raise my rate. So I don't want to,
exactly. They
I'm
don't
not
want
going
the
to
higher. Yeah.
I'm not going to look at it. And same things happened in Palisades. So people did not want to
Exactly.
insure. They thought it'll never happen to them.
That, to the point. So nobody at the
Yeah.
other point is because nobody wants to raise their premium, right? They don't want the money to go up. They're like,
Right.
it's good at 600,000. So they don't see inflation, every other aspect, that woods are getting expensive, cost of building is expensive. Right now, an average home in Palisades will cost you $2.5-3 million. They're not getting billed for 500,000. They're getting billed for millions, $1.5 million.
The estimates we got for Palisades on the low side is 900, on the high side about 1,500 a square foot to rebuild.
So look at that. So no, like none of the insurances and the 250,000 that you get from the government doesn't help you there. If the cost of building is 3 million, your insurance was $1 million, you have to come up with remaining 2 million from your pocket. So
Correct.
because they were underinsured. That is it. That's the main factor. Their insurances were underinsured. They don't have the cost to rebuild it. Not everybody is a billionaire. Some people acquire properties through inheritance. They're going to go to, down. That is what it is.
exactly. And the one last thing which I wanted to add is that both lenders and insurance depend on public systems that would eventually play out when push comes to shove. But when push comes to shove and when everything is under pressure, it's just not feasible for one system to hit the entire area. So that's where I felt the need for, more and more people are increasingly becoming aware of what needs to be done to collectively or to basically do on your own systems that would take you off the grid. Little robust systems, but then again, that can probably be something that we can share and kind of take it further. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So just
This is another very important aspect. Yeah, this is great insight.
I thought I'll still
Being
gloat in my
underinsured. Like I didn't know about that either. Like, hey, I need to double check. Great insight. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's always
So
good
this
to check with your insurance
can you
agent on
see
yearly
my
basis
screen?
as to where you stand with it.
Yes.
Hopefully you guys can see
Yeah.
my screen, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
So said that file I sent right through an email agent. To your point, it extracted all the details like deductible and all those stuff, right? So no data entry, right? So you can ask your AI agent, what's my deductible? Like if you have a fence fallen I don't need to go call my agent. I can call my AI agent, ask a question saying, should I open a claim? And it will come with the logical conclusion that at 2000 deductible, you're better off fixing the fence yourself. Because this happened to me actually. I called my agent only to be told that my damage is shared between 3 neighbors is less than 2000. So we don't cover. But guess what? They still opened a $0 claim on my insurance. And now
So
I have to wait for 3 years
that's
before it
really
drops off.
important. Right. So that's really important. That's one of the things maybe you can highlight up there, like a pop-up that comes in. Most people now, because everyone does things on their phone and their apps, they go file the claim first, then they ask questions second.
Right.
Once you file a claim, it's like a ding on a credit report. It will be there for 3 years. You lose your claim-free discount, even if zero is paid out. Or if you try to sell your property, go buy another one, it's going to carry with you as a homeowner. So something like that, like a warning or something pops up, look at it
Exactly.
before you call anyone or file something.
Exactly.
That's
And
one of the things we see a lot.
that's how
And
we will.
Ashish, more and more my neighbors are getting those canceled insurances right now. I can see a lot of the people, and it's a helpless scenario. You have to you have to face that. That's all I can say here.
And
Yeah, it's a
this is
very
that email
bad
we sent about
situation.
the maintenance, right? The Moin flow, simple text email to your
Yes.
agent. It categorized it as an expense, as a maintenance plumbing repair for 800. It also showed that if you had a receipt attached, it will show up there. And it will create this guy called the team that Aman was talking about, right? So who are the people? See, Dave Garcia showed up here in Financier Calistoga Circle twice, right? So Cindy Smith.
I like this part of it because as a owner occupied, when you're selling your house, this all counts towards your capital gains, right? Benchmark. So it's what you purchase for plus closing costs plus improvements. So if you can track your improvements, I mean, most of us can't even. I don't know what improvements I made 5-10 years ago
Exactly.
in my property or an amount that I spent into. I like this part of it really. This is a really good
Yeah,
feature
no,
in there.
we're really embracing the homeowner, right? And we're solving it for our personal need. I don't need a million people to be happy about right now. We have a few hundred people who are
Right.
giving us ideas like you guys are, right? Insurance ka ye karo, wo karo. And I expect the ease to improve, the bugs to get solved, and we will have the grandest, like I said, as a business opportunity you can imagine, right? Where this will go. We will actually be disrupting Zillows and Redfins. Then you can just list this home for sale and be done with it, right?
Right.
It's based on more realistic, believable data, right? Your neighbors.
Exactly.
Well, this is amazing. I know we're over time, but I think this was very helpful for me. Any questions, Ashish or Pramit? I'm gonna go in like right away. I know I have an account, but I'm gonna start putting my documents. So I'm sold. This is amazing. Any
Yeah, we
questions,
should.
Ashish,
We should.
Pramit?
Yeah.
Anything
So
remaining? Yeah.
No questions, but thank you. Want to thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's a good tool, and again, it's going to be depending on the user. So let's see moving forward how it kind of develops.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
good.
feel we were talking about advertising, Rahul and Aman, earlier in the day. I think spouses or wives, I think would probably would be, I mean, they'll see the gap. I think this would be amazing. Yeah, because that's the biggest gap today. They don't have any visibility and they need that. And even just from this whole insurance and being underinsured or having the total cost of ownership or where's your house at, or if you're selling a house, what changes did you make that'll give the right appraisal for the house? There's so many use cases I can think of.
Yeah, the first one, like I said, if I had an ask for this team right now, the easiest thing to do is get you guys to their level of comfort, but definitely start adding the maintenance so that you build out your neighborhood yellow pages, right? It's the safety for your family. And then the second thing is you, I think, owe it to yourself to load up your insurance and have your next door neighbors also load up the insurances. So right off the bat, people have been saving several $100s, right? Knowing the numbers is what gets you off the sofa and make that call, right? Because if you don't know the numbers, right, if the data just drives behavioral changes, right? So we are, like I said, we are very motivated. We are bringing energy utilization, solar panel research, right? Unbiased solar analysis of your electric data. Right now, The guy who's selling you the solar is doing the analysis for you. Guess what? Are you going to buy that? And he can't explain half of it when I have questions afterwards. So this will be actually doing, it's your agent, right? So it'll crunch all the numbers and say you need 20 panels, 30 panels. Your next door neighbor did it for 40 panels. He's net positive or net, all that stuff. So we're just taking features after features. I have a team in India, a couple of guys here. And fortunately, the space is so close to Indians' hearts that we're finding great followership, right, so to speak, that this makes total sense.
Cool. Well, I want to thank all all the guests, both the guests, and thank you, Rahul and Aman as well, and Pramit, Ashish. Thank you for being here. I think this was a great session. I learned a lot, and we'll have more of these. But this is good awareness. I definitely see the big gap, and I encourage all of you to also go sign up. And I think, is it a free trial, Aman and Rahul? You guys are giving?
Yeah, it's all free trial until hopefully December. Then we start charging.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
day. And
Thank you, guys.
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Have a good
great
weekend,
weekend.
guys.
Yeah.
Have a good
Yeah,
weekend.
you too.
Bye.